Saturday, October 26th, 1:03 p.m. New York time. Welcome back, investors, to Winning Wall Street's Money. Just finished another week in the U.S. markets, getting closer to the end of the month. Since we finished the end of the week, I'll go over the U.S. stock index, one of the old stock indexes, the Dow 30, which currently has 30 companies in it. And the newest one that was switched out, added this year, compared to the one that was taken out. So alphabetical order on the left, the 30 companies, again, alphabetical order. And the stock index, looking at 5 years of history, each candle represents a week. And Dow 30 industrial, 30 companies. If you're not situation awareness by now, the Dow 30 index, again, is one of the oldest U.S. stock indexes, did not originally have 30 companies in it. The companies on it are the largest valued companies in the U.S. stock index, worth billions of dollars each one, hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah, the value of them is incredible. They're not a penny stock. They're not a $10 million stock. They're not a $100 million stock. Nope, worth a lot more. So the past 5 years, here's a low, year 2020, and this year, the high, 2024. If you're not understanding this, this is a bullish market. Bullish market. We are in a bullish market. You may hear some people on media stations that work for broadcasting companies or bloggers or politicians saying we are not in a bullish market. We're not a strong stock market. Well, again, they should own up and share with you what that opinion is based on. First, me showing you your facts. Yeah, even with interest rates still high, we still have stock markets going higher. We have companies doing earnings, and they are doing fantastic in value. Again, the U.S. stock market is very diversified into different sectors. That was a prior video I posted to show you which ones are the best. The Dow 30 is very diversified in the companies. We're going to get started on that now. Show you some other insight before we switch over. Again, this week, big red candle, lower high, lower low. Last week was the high of the year. I already labeled midpoint, potential trade eye there. Big solid body and a value gap area, potential trade eye there. If you're one that trades the index or more the wiser, includes it in the comparison of the individual company. So here we are with Apple. Again, the stock symbols will be here. That's where I was up here. Look at the low for the past 5 years, Apple. And this year, the high. Red for the week, lower high, lower low. Very similar as what? The stock index. Yep. Apple also, I recall, has earnings coming this week. Right down here, earnings coming. Here's the low of the year. So this was the prior high of the year. Last week made a new high. Nice. So we're closed inside the range of last week. Amgen. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years. You see, a lot of them made new highs this year for the past 5 years. Record highs, outstanding. Well, here's the low for the year. So we're in a huge consolidation here. Consolidation when you have a lot of overlapping, small little trading range. Back here in the lows where they're prior buyers. Here's an impulse move down, which happens to be a swing high. Here's a swing low. I'm looking for these areas to be retested. Potential trade ideas. And here's Amazon. Amazon, the one that got added this year, it replaced Walgreens. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years, which happens to be this year. And here, this orange vertical line is when Amazon got added to the Dow and Walgreens was taken off. Red for the week. Big consolidation over here. Swing low, swing high. Update the color. Yep. Big consolidation. Building energy for the next breakout one way or the other. So again, we know the low was here. Past 5 years, here's the high. Let's just compare it to Walgreens to see how it's doing since that was replaced. Oops. Maybe it was WG. I forgot the symbol. All right, let's forget about that. Focus. American Express, financials. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high. Again, financials, if you've been looking at my other videos, the best sectors, you know, financials are one of those top ones. Outstanding. Last week was the high of financials. Nice. Dodgy candle up there. Boeing. Wow. Here's the high for the past 5 years. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for this year. Here's the low for this year. Yeah, bad shape, really struggling. Here's a swing high it took out. So that was a swing high, went up, tested it, filled, closed below it, rejected it. And big sell off. Wow. Must have been right around earnings. Caterpillar. Also, past 5 years, we're at the all time new high. Outstanding. Nice. Salesforce. The low for the past 5 years. Also, this year made the high for this year, past 5 years. We also had a swing. This was an impulse move down. We tested it, broke above it, closed above it. So once we closed above it, showing more momentum to likely what? Fill the gap. The gap has been filled. Right there. Got filled. Nice. Let's remove it. As expected, our price target was touched. Nice. Cisco. Here's the high for the past 5 years. Here's the low. What's going on this year? Well, we made a new high for the year. Yeah, new high for the year. Just shy of testing. It looks like we did almost test the midpoint there. Nice. So we didn't close below it. We closed above it. Yep, but I happened to make a new high for the year. So potential pullback areas, potential trade ideas right in there. Nice. Also down here. So continue on momentum of upside. I'll be looking for here. That's technology. Chevron. Yeah, here's the high for the past 5 years. And what? It's building a wedge. Here's the high for this year. Here's the low for this year. Big impulse down. Already labeled midpoint. We haven't tested that. Reversed off the bottom of the year. And look at this. Building consolidation. Building energy for likely what? Further breakout to the upside to test these. Disney, no surprise. Here's the high for the past 5 years. Last year was the low for the past 5 years. So here's the high this year, all the way down. Yep. Inside candle for the week, meaning indecision, has not broken above that swing high. Potential area of target on the upside, as well as these swing lows on the downside. Dow Chemical, the low of the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years. New low. Actually, this was the low for the year. Let me update it. 49.52. There we go. And this week, huge impulse move down. Ready to label that and midpoint. Yeah. So again, we didn't test this or take this out yet. Be interesting if we're going to have a reverse before it. Potential target on the upside. But if we break that, looking down here to go. Yeah. Again, big move down. Way below the highs. Yeah, here's the high this year. Here's the high last year. Goldman Sachs, another financial one. Again, last week was the high of the year. Nice, big, strong, bullish move on the financials. And if you don't want to do the single stocks, what do we have? We have stock sector ETFs, the financials, XLF. Here's a low for this year. Here's the high for this year. And I'm looking at this potential trade idea. Home Depot. Again, past 5 years, this year made the high for the year. Big candle, big impulse move down, and potential trade ideas. Honeywell, huge consolidation. Look at this. Here's the high of 2021. Here's the low of 2022. So in that tight range, which is interesting this week back here, big green candle, impulse move up. The next candle, the green candle, made a new high for the year. And this past week that just ended, another new high for the year. Huge dump. Yeah, but we haven't tested all the way down here. Really able midpoint. Very volatile. IBM, also new high for the year. Wow. And then a huge dump. If you've been watching my videos as a Patreon member, you're well aware ahead of time, because I share with you deep detail. I was expecting some kind of sell-off this week, maybe possibly next week, and it came this week. That's why you see some of these huge moves down. Well, next week being the last week of the month, and we still have huge earnings in tech. Again, potential trade ideas. I'm looking in these areas. Intel. This year was the new low for the past 5 years. Loser. And we haven't even done a retest the midpoint here. Nope. Had that pop, reject it, and consolidation, lower, lower, low. Wow, disappointing. Johnson & Johnson, also tight consolidation range since this year. Inside candle for the week, indecision. Big difference to what's happening with the index, yeah. JP Morgan, another financial. Last week was the high of the year. Nice. Really strong financials. Inside candle for the week. Potential reversal. Coca-Cola. So since the high that year, this year, consolidation, dump. This past week, dump. Huge impulse move down. And look at that, key testing at demand zone. Zoom out right here. Key level. We closed almost right at it. We have another one down here, a minor one. So potential trade ideas off those. See how things play out come in the new week. And McDonald's. Yep, the low for the past 5 years. The high for the past 5 years. Huge impulse move down. Huge engulfing candle, locking all these longs and gap down here. Potential trade idea. That's real down here, these two. Yep. You can read the news, what happened to McDonald's, just like it happened years ago to Chipotle. Cause panic. Again, people are going to stop eating there. Short term, could hurt revenue, sales, yeah. Whereas the other companies, again, nice growth because their sales are increasing, their revenue was increasing. So again, when persons make false information that the economy is terrible, these companies factually are reporting their revenue, their sales are increasing. Yeah. Shame that a lot of people are spreading disinformation intentionally. Well, but it hasn't worked because the stock market's still going higher. 3M. Yep, here's the high for the past 5 years. Here's the low. Another one, big sell-off, which happened to make a new high for the year. Merck, new low for the year. Huge consolidation up there. Swing lows. Microsoft. Green for the week, higher, high, higher, low. Not a big sell-off. Yep. Again, swing points, key areas I'm looking for, retest. Nike, no surprise. You know, it's retail, not the strongest, not the leadership. Nope. Red for the week, lower low, lower high. Again, there was a huge impulse move down there. As we expect, some point of this would be retraced. It was, it went up, broke above that midpoint, and then rejected it. Again, dump. This earnings area, they ran it up, pump it up. Again, earnings, dump. And Procter & Gamble, also new high for the past 5 years, was here. Nice. Travelers, another financial company. This year, high. Last week, all-time new high. Nice. Inside candle for the week. And a potential trade idea I'm looking for in here. United Health, strong sector. Yeah. Look at that. Last week was the high of the year. Big trading range. Also sold off inside this gap. Got a swing low now and inside candle for the week. Real small trading range this past week. Huge effect will be based on price range, will be based on price movement, will be based on after the US elections, November, on who controls the Senate, who controls the House. If you're not for situation or that's the two sides of the US Congress. They write the check. And then they have that bill that goes to the executive branch. Again, Congress writes the check. They budget each federal agency. United Health, we will soon see how their performance is going to be after the election. Visa, another financial, making that new high for this year. Inside candle for the week. Verizon, another communication one. Again, if you're not situation awareness, this stock index, the Dow 30, used to have a company, AT&T, listed on it. And they fell below requirements and got kicked off to a big rundown. Yeah. Well, again, here's the high for the year. Here's the low for the year for Verizon. And huge dump for this week. Took out that impulse move up. See that? There was an impulse move up. Went up a little bit higher and then dumped. Interestingly, we broke below it, but we closed above it. Let's remove that. Yeah. So maybe we're going to start having, well, obviously there's buyers already stepping in there, willing to buy there. Let's see if I have a continued movement to the upside. Potential trade there. If you understand options, might be considering bull put spread. And Walmart, retail. Look at this. Here's the low for the past 5 years. Here's the high for the past 5 years. New high for the year. New high for the past 5 years. Amazing. Walmart, new high. Strong like bull. And potential areas on the downside for trades. Mm-hmm. Again, when we look at the other ones I showed you, Amazon, new high for the year. And Salesforce, again, here was the high for the year. Interesting. Again, the end of this week, we will have many big companies who are going to do reporting their earnings. So be prepared for new price action. I just showed you there. Yeah. And if you like early access to my videos, I have a private Patreon page for members that are paying. They get access the same day I post my videos instead of you all on YouTube waiting days, weeks later. And on top of that, there's a lot more deep insight I share on understanding the markets. Yeah. So the link's below. Thank you as always for spending just a little bit of your time with me. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching.